Welcome. I am Michael.
I'm Nikki.
And I'm Mickett.
And this was a Star Wars podcast. And today we're keeping up with the relevancy, and we're going to talk about the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. That's the confusion everyone keeps making. This one is called The Suicide Squad. I think James Gunn wanted to make sure that the was emphasized because that's how you differentiate between the two. Also, it was significantly better. Did you get to watch it, Mickett?
I did not, but first of all, I'm not worried about you guys spoiling anything for me because I don't have high hopes for it. So, and I'm sure it's different for you guys since you've actually seen it. But after the movies that DC's been putting out, we'll see.
So think about it this way, Mickett. I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes page right now. It is a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes, 84 audience, which is mind-blowing for how badly the initial one got destroyed by critics. But the other side, go ahead, Mickett.
I was gonna say, let me put it to you this way. It's easy to have a high score when all your other movies of the same the same theme were so terrible, right? It's like you literally just pushed everyone and gave everyone bad feelings about it, and then when they watch this one, they have to love it. And I wonder, that could have been a strategy thing at this point. What if they were like, let's just make really bad movies and then one really good movie?
Thus is the DCEU.
Well, the difference between this one and pretty much everything else that they've made is James Gunn got carte blanche to do whatever he wanted, and they let it be a rated R movie, and they let it be obnoxiously violent and funny, in my opinion. So they kind of took all the reins that created all of the problems with the other ones, with Warner Brothers just being like, no, we're not gonna let you do what you want to do. We're gonna make this our version. And I think that's what made it set itself apart. Plus, I love that they kind of went with the traditional functionality of the Suicide Squad in terms of picking more second-rate, obscure villains that are not as recognizable as some of the ones they chose for the initial one. They chose one of my all-time favorite villains from the Batman universe in Polka Dot Man, which he was awesome. He was so good in it, in my opinion. But
yep, I felt like they really picked really abstract characters on this one.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Well, I mean, Nikki, as someone who saw it, what did you think, man?
Well, okay, so actually, Suicide Squad, I would actually really put it up there with Mortal Kombat. I thought it was comparing the original Suicide Squad, which was runny diarrhea, to maybe solid pebbly crap. I thought the movie was trash. I was bored the entire time. A giant fucking starfish. And it's oh, let's pick the most obscure characters. Oh, more people I don't give a fuck about. Cole Young. Although I will go with this. I actually did like Polka Dot Man, which when I watched the previews, I was like, what the fuck character is this? And I wanted to find whoever created him and find that person's parents and take out their reproductive parts so this wouldn't happen in the near future, consider it comes some kind of break in the timeline. But no, I don't think Harley Quinn is a fun character really that much anymore. The whole flower scene, I was it just seemed like it was trying way too hard. And yeah, if I can just go with one more thing with a lot of people loved it with the ratings, and I always fall for that too, but nobody knows, or everybody knows, like you can't follow what a crowd thinks, because mob mentality is never the brightest, and neither was this movie.
I've found that a few times, like actually more than not, like if it has a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, it's always just kind of a subpar movie. And I don't think that's because the crowd overall has bad taste in movies. I don't think that's it at all. Like, if anything, you've realized that like box office shows you like people loved, say, Endgame. Everyone fucking loved Endgame. It was a good fucking movie. It is what it is, or other movies are bad. And I think it's just the people that happen to go on Rotten Tomatoes are the only people who are making these weird choices in movies. Like, we as regular people, I'm not like, shit, this movie was great. You know where I need to go? Rotten Tomatoes. Right now, I'm going to tell everybody it was good. We're just not the people.
But then there's also the fucking troglodyte trolls who just put 1-star reviews on IMDb because they think they're intelligent. They all need to be on r/I am so smart, or I am very smart, because all of them are like, how can you call this a cinematic masterpiece? Well, first of all, no one called this a cinematic masterpiece. You're just being a dickhead. But I don't know. I personally, I think it's because I am a DC first guy and I am a nostalgia for this particular style. I think Starro was a fantastic choice because it pisses people like Nikki off. Because you want the big name, you want it to be something of merit, but Suicide Squad as a comic strip was not that at all. It was designed to kind of give that vibe. And also, while I agree that the flower fight scene was a bit cheesy, I love the fact that she just used the javelin the entire time. But and she found out the mission of what she needed to use the javelin for. I've always, I don't know, I just liked it because I felt like it gave credo to some of the more obscure characters, but they also didn't, I feel like they didn't overdo it by intentionally killing half of them at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they killed, like, Pete Davidson dies within the first 5 minutes. Nathan Fillion dies within the first 5 minutes. Flula Borg dies within the first 5 minutes. He's hysterical in general. I find him very funny, but I could be wrong.
So you guys' favorite character was Polka Dot Man, it seems like.
Yeah,
he was up there. I liked Ratcatcher 2 in some aspects. I could have cared less about Peacemaker. I'm kind of sad that he's one that's going to survive, but apparently that's the
King Shark.
King Shark. Yeah, that was Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dug him, I guess.
He was interesting. It was kind of fun to like watch him go ape shit.
It was kind of crazy because like I'm watching this and I'm like, is this like I know completely different movies, and just the only reason why I'm correlating it is because it's James Gunn who did Guardians. But I was like, huh, you just kind of remind me of Groot, like a one-wordy kind of person, can't really talk. You got the rat person who kind of understands him, who everyone thinks that Rocket Raccoon is a rat.
Yeah.
They just kind of had like that dynamic.
Damn it, Nikki. Now you're But to me personally, comparatively, you make a valid argument there as well, Nikki, while I still disagree on the consistency of the shit as it was presented. The original film was a dumpster fire wrapped in bad Chinese food that was also set on fire that was then shit out. Whereas I really liked this one. I don't know. I'm not gonna change my opinion on that part of it. I I don't know. I think maybe because of some of the tie-ins from the original one, a lot of people think it's a sequel when it's really not. It's not even a reboot or a standalone. It's kind of just is. A great way to explain it is if you watch the pitch meeting. Have you ever seen the Screen Rant pitch meetings for movies that are on YouTube? It's like a guy essentially talking to himself on a green screen where he plays the guy pitching it and then the studio executive responding to it. One of the concepts was like, oh, is this a reboot? And he's like, yes. And a sequel? Yes. Well, which one is it? Exactly.
I thought it did flow together from like the first one to this one. And I kind of just consider them like both stories, like in the same, I guess, not a reboot, but an actual sequel. And to me, like that flowed good. And it was definitely a million times better. I actually did like the lady who put the Suicide Squad together. I can't remember her name.
Amanda Waller.
Yeah, I thought she was a lot better this time around too.
She was a lot more sinister.
Yeah.
Definitely more. Viola Davis is a phenomenal actress, so she definitely puts that character in a great place. They only returned 3 characters from the original one.
So would you say that this is on the same timeline as the first one or a variant of that?
Ooh, TVA, I hear you.
Disney's gonna sue us for bringing that up in a DC conversation. I think it's designed to be a separation in some capacities because they don't want it to tie into the David Ayer universe. Like James Gunn wants this to be more of what it was supposed to be the first time, but they decided to choose like some of the most popular Rogues Gallery villains from the first one, and that kind of made a huge, like, gave it this big marketing tool because they can be like, we can do Diablo and Captain Boomerang and Deadshot and have them fight Enchantress and it'll be great. Whereas like it should have just been what it was before. What's interesting to me too is you make it another point, Nikki, that you made. Damn it, and I'm mad about this again. It did feel fairly Guardians-esque because it kind of had that division of humor and violence, but they were allowed to do more because they had more available, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think the gore factor and the R rating made a huge difference because the other one was PG-13. So that can make a difference in a film like this. I mean, it's similar to like trying to make Deadpool fucking PG-13. It wouldn't work.
I feel like the villains in this, I feel like a lot of abstract villains, especially in DC, and that's probably due to the time that they were made. I feel like they had 2 hats with random words in them. And they're like, all right, polka dot, man. That's the thing. Let's run it.
Yeah.
The one I want them to bring in, they never will. And this is an actual DC villain. And I think we talked about this during the Snyder Cut episode, is that it fits to your theme. Condiment King. Dude had ketchup gun, mustard gun strapped to his back, and he shot you, but they combined to create an explosive.
I really needed him yesterday with my fries.
What kind of fries? What kind of fries were they?
Cajun fries, always Cajun at this house.
Okay. All
Right.
You imagine his
putting Cajun season on top.
His day job is like he works at a restaurant, but like then at night he's like, all right, now I'm Condiment Man. I'm a Condiment Man normally at work, but now I'm Condiment Man as
Condiment
a villain.
King. He is a king. He is royalty.
Condiment King. Excuse me.
Dress for the job you want, you know?
FCF calls him Condiment Man too, and it cracks me up every time. And I correct her, but then I realized that she is the FCF, which means that her word is final. So
That's true, because here in America, we don't recognize royalty. So the FCF speaks truth.
So okay then. So the general consensus is I'm 33% of this. Make it, you haven't seen it, but that's fine. I have a feeling that you probably be a ho hum response as well, based on just the general vibe of it being a DC movie, right?
Yeah. It is what it is. I'm sorry, guys.
So
no, you don't even have to apologize, because I say you're correct.
Yeah,
You haven't even seen the movie, but you're right.
At least, Nikki, your example is the one that could technically work because it is within the Warner Brothers universe, and Cole Young could technically be in the next Suicide Squad movie.
I don't even want to hear about that, unless he's one of the people that gets his face blown off in the beginning. Let him get his face blown off or try to escape the mission. And you know what? I'll change my vote on Suicide Squad. I'll make it a great movie to watch Cole Young.
If Cole Young dies in the first 5 minutes. Oh, man.
Yo, let's be honest here, though. If for some reason Mortal Kombat and I guess Suicide Squad make some kind of crossover, as much as we want say Cole Young to disappear for the existence of forever, realistically, with how their movies are going, Harley Quinn and Cole Young are going to get together.
Oh,
that's how it would go.
Would Jared Leto have to come back as the Joker for that?
He would back dressed,
and he would, and that's how he would redeem himself, by killing both of them.
Yeah. And then Alos would give it 100%.
Yeah.
So now, okay, if you were making your own Suicide Squad, who would you choose as the character you would pass to Amanda Waller? What DC villain would you want as a choice?
Can I pick Nikki?
Yes, you can.
I'll take it. Yeah.
You in the Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
What's your special ability? What do you bring to the Suicide Squad, Nikki Misery?
God, okay, if I'm gonna do something, like, I'll kind of want to like have something that where it's like misery, but if I could do something where like I could change like the pressure in the room and like crush people's skulls and just make them seem like
Oh man,
that
sounds pretty miserable.
But
it would always have to have a witty joke at the end, whatever it is that you did.
I guess he couldn't handle the miserable pressure.
Yeah. Do you need an ibuprofen? They're not all winners.
No, they're not. All right. Oh man, they're not all winners. And you would be barometric misery.
Yeah,
because it's all pressure.
No, let's be honest. They'd give you a really bad name that they pull from a hat, like Pressure Boy. You'd be like, this doesn't even make any sense. Like, oh, okay,
Pressure Boy. Well, I mean, he changes the pressure in the room and makes your head explode for a miserable experience. Oh man. What about you, Mickey? Who would you choose? Well, you chose Nikki. Nikki, who would you choose?
Yeah. I guess for me, like, if I don't really know that many like DC villains in general off the top of my head, let alone like obscure ones. So I'll kind of just go with a Batman-y thing. I'd like to see some more Scarecrow.
Oh man!
As much as I want to say the Joker, let's give him a break and let's get some Scarecrow in there.
He would fuck shit up. He would be brutal.
Dude, what sucks is that, like, okay, Scarecrow in like the video games has been rad.
Oh yeah.
Right? I haven't played them all, but like from what I've seen and things I have played, he's always super awesome. And then every time you see him like in a movie or like even in some of the cartoon stuff, I was like, oh, I mean, I'm not really concerned about you. Like, you're You're not really dangerous. Like
all I got to do is this, and I'm immune to you.
yeah, right. And we're good.
Bane would
Like in today's world, he's going outside. He ain't gonna get nobody.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Crane is pretty brutal, but like his psychosis that he creates with that fear toxin is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Too bad it's defeated by a gas mask, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, he was created in 1941. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's before gas masks were invented.
That's true. That's true.
But I think he could come with an upgrade. It'd be kind of interesting to see him in the Suicide Squad. I also think he would turn immediately on everyone.
Yeah. I really like him in I think it's Injustice too.
Yeah, he's in Injustice too.
Yeah, where he's just kind of a little more, I don't know how to explain it, like creature-like in comparison to, say, like just a dude in a suit with a bag on his head. Like,
yeah,
feels a little like, I mean, I guess I'm concerned because you have a bag on your head, but like, whatever.
Apparently he wields a scythe at points in his history as well, so he does have a weapon.
I remember that, actually. I remember him having an action figure with a scythe, and I wonder what.
I have no idea. The one I would pick if I were to go is if you guys remember in the Batman Beyond universe, I don't know if you guys watched that at all or kept up with that, but there was the Royal Flush Gang. It's a family of thieves.
And they were like the Cards, right?
Yeah.
I think I remember this, actually.
Could you imagine if Waller just recruited all of them and was like, here's this mission I have for you. Do it. You would not need to coordinate any teams. You wouldn't have to try and force them to work together because they already work together. They're family. It might be a little chaotic because they don't always get along. But it'd be kind of interesting to see how that dynamic would be. It'd be like a really bad family sitcom.
I think in the theme of Suicide Squad, though, all of them but one would die right in the beginning of the movie.
Probably. And then they'd have to pair him with another team.
Yeah, and then just be like, oh, you're just like a jack? I don't really get it. Like, it made sense with my family, okay?
When we were all together, it worked.
Was Batman Beyond, was that the one where they had like the gorilla looking Joker?
Kinda. I think
like
so.
Ape-like hunched over with like, big old dreads.
No, that was the new animated series. Hold on. I'm gonna confirm that real quick because I might be wrong. But
what
if
a
I remember
terrible
correctly,
rendition that was.
No, he was more traditional in Batman because he wasn't a big part of the Batman Beyond universe. They brought him in later.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because Batman Beyond is the one where Bruce Wayne's older, right?
Yeah, and Terry McGinnis takes up the mantle of Batman.
Yeah. I prefer dreaded Hulk Joker over the Joker in Suicide Squad.
Oh, really?
His acting was better. Okay.
I actually wasn't that big of a hater on Jared Leto's. I just wanted to see more of it.
Yeah, and it got cut because the studio thought it wasn't good. And I think that's the problem, is that if we had seen it more and let it flush out more, I think we would have liked it better. I never hated it. I always thought it was different generation of Joker, which I thought was kind of interesting. He took more from the Clown Prince of Crime side. I think there's like a whole comic book that he based his off of. The one that you are thinking of, Nikki, the Joker you're thinking of is from The Batman, which was like the most recent animated series, actually voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, the voice of Elmo.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Fun
who
fact.
knew that Elmo was that evil? Rude.
Did you ever play with a Tickle Me Elmo when the batteries ran out of that thing?
I mean, is there another time to play with it?
That's good. But
I think it was a multitude of things for me that made Jared Leto's Joker not so good. But realistically, it was like you're surrounded by so many. And I'm going to say, first of all, I don't like the Joker. I'm not a fan of the Joker. I've never been a fan of the Joker. It is what it is. Nobody likes me for that. But either way, it's so hard to be the Joker. One, with following a fantastic Joker, because I think the one right before was Heath Ledger, right?
correct.
Like that was, I don't even like the Joker, but that was fantastic, right? And then even Joaquin Phoenix's Joker after, it's like you're surrounded by these great Jokers, and like, I mean, you're like, it almost felt like a pretty cosplay version of the Joker, surrounded by a bunch of Jokers that were like, yo, what are you doing here? You should go, do something else. Like, I don't understand why you tried to, like, and don't get me wrong, I think Jared Leto is a great actor. He's a great musician and just fantastic overall. But like, I didn't want you as the Joker. You were just, there's something not convincing in your face. It's like,
That's a good way to phrase it.
yeah, like the character of Joker never came off to me as a really, really pretty guy. You know?
That's true.
Like there's something about, and that sucks to make it sound like that, but like Jared Leto, you're a fantastic actor and a pretty human being, and those two things together make it so it's so impossible for you to be such a shitty character, especially, and it's not like a shitty character, like, because I know he's done stuff before where he had to really reach out in different directions, but like none of them had such a backstory to them, such a history, that it was like, yo, you're stepping onto all of this. You better be good because everyone's gonna fucking know,
Yeah. So listen to this list. So I just looked up because I'm curious now. This is the list of people who have either played the voice of or who have played the Joker live action. Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill, Cesar Romero, Alan Tudyk, John DiMaggio, Troy Baker of Uncharted fame, Michael Emerson, the dude from Person of Interest that plays like the I always forget his name, Henry, I think, like the main guy in Person of Interest, not Jim Caviezel, but the guy who like ran the program, does a really good job. He plays him in the Dark Knight Returns series. It's fantastic. Zach Galifianakis plays him in the Lego Batman movies.
Interesting.
You have Joaquin Phoenix. Michael McKean played him in the new Batman generation. Like the list of people who have played this character are uncomfortably good at this. Even Cameron Monaghan, who ended up being he was the one from Gotham. He
was already Gotham phenomenal series.
Yeah. So like you're putting yourself in this position of taking this iconic character and trying something completely different, which I think a lot of people freaked out about. But I think in general, if we had seen, like you said, Mick, if we had seen more of him, I think it might have been better.
I could have seen less.
100% agree.
Oh yeah, sorry, Nikki, that was you. That was your idea, my bad, dude.
I'm agree with Mick saying the things I said.
I said I was sorry. Don't change the pressure in this room. Please don't change the pressure.
I'm doing it to myself.
I think Mark Hamill will always be engraved as the voice of the Joker for me. Like, I will never, which is unfortunate for him too, because he was Luke Skywalker for he's still going to be Luke Skywalker for all of time. But it's like, he did the Joker, and now whenever you hear him play any voice in anything or act in most things now, he's still the Joker. And I don't know if he knows how to get out of that. And that sucks, because I think Mark Hamill's great, but you've got to step out of the Joker. Like, I was watching Troll Hunters the other day, and the voice that he does in that, I was like, oh, it's the Joker. Okay.
I was glad they got him for the Arkham series. Him and Kevin Conroy as Batman. That was brilliant. I think that's what our generation wanted for that, because Kevin Conroy is Batman, the animated Batman for our generation. And then, I mean, obviously there's like a bunch of different Batmans. I think I'll be interested to see how they play this Suicide Squad into the branch of the rest of the DCCU, in terms of like, are they going to keep trying to push Harley Quinn as a titular character from here on out, or has Harley Quinn run her course in what needs to be done for that portion of it? How is it going to tie into the new Batman movie? What are they going to do in terms of like expanding it into the rest of the universe? Because I feel like that's one thing Marvel has significantly over DC, is how they're incorporating all of their storylines into one giant phase.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a little confused on on Harley Quinn's character, just for the sake that, like, I'm not sure how they can really tie it into anything, because, and you guys got to correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't read a lot of it based on her, and I don't watch a lot of it based on her. But like, does she have like a long-term goal or point beyond the Joker?
Yes.
Like, is there any? What does she do after this? Like, where's she going with this?
So in the comic books, over the last 5 or 6 years, she has her own branch of comics now, where she actually has separated herself from the Joker completely, and has essentially erased any of the Stockholm syndrome aspects of their relationship. And it's pretty much her and Poison Ivy as a tandem through the next generation, where she essentially tries to dethrone the Joker as the crown prince of crime in Gotham, and works with Poison Ivy as like a duo to create havoc. So her end game is to destroy the Joker as a person.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So that just makes me wonder, say, like, if, and I hate to compare it to this just because one's fantastic and one's kind of not, but, you know, like with Marvel, it's like we had all these good guys get together and they had one giant story arc that built up and then just, you know, exploded like a volcano. And this, it's like DC were like, oh, what about that over there? And we'll try this. And, you know, like, I feel like we're just throwing rocks in the dark, hoping we hit something. And even with Harley Quinn, like, let's imagine we go on that. Like, now it's a whole Joker theme. Like, it only goes as far as the Joker and Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I mean, I would be tight if they brought back Uma Thurman, but not very likely, you know, like, where is the story going to get bigger than this? Like, what, is there going to be something on top? Is Batman going to come in at any point and interact here? Like,
yeah,
you know? That's the thing I don't get with the DCCU to Marvel. Like, Marvel, like, there's not a Russo verse, there's not a Gunn verse, you know, it's the MCU. This one, I don't know if the Snyderverse is part of the Suicide Squad world, and this first Suicide Squad's not attached to the original Suicide Squad, but it is, but it's not. But you got the same characters and the same kind of story, but no, it's not really attached. Like, DC, what the fuck are you doing? What is your story? Do you even have a cinematic universe, or are you just throwing shit at the wall going, look how they connected?
I think the plan is to use Flashpoint as the way to explain everything. So Flashpoint is the Flash standalone, but what it essentially does is it shows how the multiverse is created. Because in Flashpoint, Flash uses his speed to disrupt time, but he fucks everything up because he's the Flash and he sucks. At least the television Flash is an asshole, idiot, terrible character. That show started sucking like after what, season 6? FCF says season 3. So, but like essentially he screws up everything and it shows the variance of timelines. So that's why they're bringing in Michael Keaton as Batman to kind of establish that that timeline exists within the DCCU, and they have other cameos and connections that are going to kind of bring everything together. So I think Flashpoint's going to be the one that brings the entire universe together to one ultimate goal. I kind of hope that Justice League plays off the Snyder Cut side of things and actually has a dark side functionality, but I think a lot of people are like, seen it, Thanos, next. So I think that's kind of the concern, is everyone's comparing it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe when I think it's really just trying to be its own thing, which is unfortunate because they're years, I would even be willing to say a decade behind. And that's what creates that disconnect. And I think people are expecting it to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe when I think DC just kind of wants to do its own thing.
Yeah, I could see how that could be complicated. It's like taking the two things that have been competing for the last God knows how many years. And one of them was like, let's make this big, thing. And the other one was like, we're just going to try something else, and everyone's like, so you're not going to compete in this and make something just as cool, but with the other characters that people like? Okay, I guess, that's a deal too.
Yeah.
But are they losing all their major players for a bit too? Like DC Ben Affleck dropped out, Cavill dropped out for a bit.
Yeah, and I think part of it is their main cast wasn't as committed because they weren't done as well as, like, I liked Dawn of Justice, but I also liked the director's cut of Dawn of Justice better. I hated Suicide Squad, but the director's cut was better. Warner Brothers is the reason that the DCCU is failing, because they undercut everything from the beginning because they didn't feel like it was necessary. They didn't really give the directors freedom. With this particular film, with the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, they let him have whatever he wanted. They didn't handcuff him. They didn't restrain him. With the Snyder Cut, they let him do whatever he wanted. They let him have carte blanche. That's the difference. I think even pre-Disney, even post-Disney, Marvel had the freedom to do whatever they wanted within reason, of course. Because, Disney's not huge on the whole rated R aspect of life. And never really have been, but they're willing to make that sacrifice for Deadpool to bring him into the MCU. I don't know if Warner was so willing to do that until they saw the success of Snyder Cut and they were like, oh, you mean if we don't get involved, things will work? Weird.
Okay. I actually kind of like, just moving back to something we were talking about, but I kind of like The Flash personally. The only problem I have, and this goes for most things that are going on with movies and TV right now, is that, like, I love time travel. Time travel movies are fantastic. I've always been into them. I'll never not be into them, right? Science fiction is my shit. But with the multiverse thing, I feel like it's a good excuse, and I feel like this is why they got into it. It's a good excuse for, over the length of time that comic books or TV shows or movies or something like that, like every time they were like, all right, let's make Batman. We drew out Batman the Animated Series. It was fantastic. Everybody fucking loved it. This was like in every McDonald's that existed at the time, And then it came to an end, like all good things do. and they're like, let's make another one, but this time it's this, and it has nothing to do with Batman the animated series or anything. We'll just put it out because we just want to reboot it, or the comic book where it's like, okay, Batman dies in this one. It has nothing to do with any of the animated series. We just want to put these things out, right? Reboot. And the multiverse pretty much makes it so like, this is just how you just tie those things together. You don't really have to try and explain it. It doesn't have to be good in any way. Like, we have a multiverse, and just, what, this Batman's here, this, and everybody can do it, and it's gonna be great. Like, there's no, like, we just kind of like pop a hole in time, step through, and now this Harley Quinn exists, and we're like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, it's a multiverse. It's totally fine.
Well, that's what Injustice was. The initial Injustice game was just time holes. But I think the interesting thing is, I feel like, and this is coming from a DC fan, Marvel has a better explanation for the multiverse. And Marvel has a better process of how they handle the multiverse. I feel like DC is just like Flash and Superman. They both can go at faster than the speed of time, and they can change time and create these different universes. And their primary villain that destroys multiverses is Darkseid, and he creates chaos by destroying planets in every multiverse. But I feel like, you have more explanation in the other side of that with Marvel, like, the time stone, the TVA, different variations of time frames. Multiverse has been part of their entire existence since the beginning of, at least in what I can tell from like the Avengers side of things. I feel like DC's using it as a cop out to create, well, this is how they all come together.
Yeah, it's like the spackle of stuff. Just cover it. Just say multiverse and we're fine.
It's like that meme of the guy putting tape on the tank. Multiverse.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage. But yeah, the funny thing about it is all of this stems from the fact that I think they know they screwed up initially, and now they're trying to fix it. And that's what I think the Suicide Squad is it's the first real step in trying to fix it. Nikki, like you said, it's not, trying to compare garbage is a reason why it looks so much better, because what came before it was so bad. But at the same time, I think for someone like myself who's invested in the DC universe, I loved it enough to be like, okay, now they're moving in the right direction. Let's see if we can fix everything. That's how I look at it. It may not have been awesome like that, to the point where like you liked it, Nikki, enough to like, Cole Young it up. It shows me that you liked it enough to want to make it a Mortal Kombat. But like I loved it enough to want to see more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I did not want to see any more. I was good on it. I was good.
Oh, that sucks.
Just like, I just think the thing for me, like I could watch a bad Marvel movie, but I know it's building up to a bigger storyline, something bigger than itself. I can watch a bad DC movie and be like, okay, well, that was that, flush.
Yeah. It feels like, there's no point to it. Like, it's not going anywhere farther than just being that in the end of the day.
Yeah. And, or try to be a cash grab,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get some MCU directors who did good and see if he can clean up this garbage.
That's fair. I'll take my punches where they come.
I mean, it's not even an attack against you. It's an attack against them and their awful decisions.
Oh, no. I as the DC fan in this group is what I'm saying. As the guy who will sit on that mantle and take those punches like Cole Young, and then fire up my beat me up suit and then kill Thanos. I don't know.
Kill Thanseed. Darkness the Conqueror.
Is he
Gotta
Greek?
Stop. Yeah.
Darkness the Conqueror.
Dr. Thartnos the Conqueror. Just in case Doom comes out.
Oh man, that's good. That's really good. Well, I mean, I don't have anything else to really cover on this topic, just because it seems like we dovetailed into exactly what I was hoping to talk about, which was how it affects the rest of the DCCU, and that answers that question. So, fantastic.
Actually, I do want to change my answer from before, like what suicide character,
Yeah.
what DC character. Now that I'm thinking about it, because like Scarecrow would be kind of bad, but this guy would be good. And I kind of thought of it because I found this old McDonald's Happy Meal toy thing, which was this old Two-Face glass from
Oh shit!
Batman Forever,
snap.
was it?
Yeah, that's Tommy Lee Jones if I've ever seen him.
And I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, well, Two-Face would kind of be really cool in the Suicide Squad. So I'm gonna change my answer to that. But then yeah,
Okay,
I like
yeah.
the coins flipping as the handle.
That's pretty sweet, dude.
Yeah.
McDonald's. Yeah. That's
I think the real question
Still
here
collect
is,
that stuff.
when you put liquid in that cup, do you prefer to put a white liquid or a blue liquid for the sides
I
of
like
his face?
I like to put oil and vinegar and sip it like that.
Oh,
So they're just separated. It's not delicious and it's not healthy at all, but
yeah. I'm gonna need you guys to separate vertically.
Could you please separate? Just do it.
just do it.
Oh, gross.
Oh man, Shia LaBeouf needs to be in a DC movie now. I said it.
He'll
Let's
play
get
pressure.
him to be
He'll
Two-Face.
play Pressure Boy. All right, for the next episode that we record, we have to come up with our own DC names that were pulled out of the hat. I mean, Nikki, you have yours, but you should come up with one for yourself.
Okay.
And we'll bring that for the next episode we record. All right, well, that's all we have time for today for this episode. We'll catch you guys next week. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you are listening to us on our audio podcast, please do us a favor and tell a friend. Pass it on to anybody and let them know that you love This Was a Star Wars podcast. And on that note, I am Michael.
I'm Nikki.
And I'm Pressure Boy.
We'll see you guys next week. That was awesome.